desperately need. Because guess what we don't have still? We still do not have access to medical cannabis or even industrial hemp-based products from the Veterans Administration. There's a lot of things we're working on right now. Some of the things I can't share yet, some of the things I don't want to share yet, but some of the things I will share with you is there's a number of different, bills in Congress right now. And we've talked about them ad nauseum through this process over the last year or so. The CARES Act, things that will get veterans the access that they need. But the big key is just don't stop fighting, please. Don't stop fighting. You got to keep pushing hard at the federal level, at the state level, to make sure that medical cannabis is still on the forefront of everybody's thoughts and ideas, that it is still an issue that is a voting issue, and that it is still an issue that we're going to talk about on the next podcast, that the electoral body came out and voted for, oh my goodness, so much in favor. I think some of the numbers, even from a recreational standpoint, I think the last number I read was 67% of our country 67% of our country supported recreational cannabis. What the heck do we support at 67% of? Absolutely nothing, right? And on top of that, medical cannabis support in the United States was up over 70%. It was in the high 70s. So this is a winning scenario. And I think that's one of the things we're going to talk about on a future podcast this month is the winning scenario that has happened throughout the United States and what's happened throughout the world as far as cannabis improvement goes, cannabis legislation goes, and cannabis change has been brought to the forefront. So one of the things that I want to close with in the Florida Medical Cannabis podcast today is we're going to talk about hemp and CBD in the state of Florida as well. Now, what does that mean for the state of Florida? What is really going on in the state of Florida, and how can you get involved in the state of Florida? Well, one of the first things that you have to do is you have to complete a background check. So don't forget to do the background check. That's a big issue that a lot of us fail to do. And I'm not saying that you all have stuff in your background and failed. I'm just saying you fail to actually get the background check done. That's the biggest thing that I've seen that has kicked applications back out that have been submitted to the states, whether it's Florida or Kentucky, it doesn't matter. If there's a background check that's required, most oftentimes the person who is applying forgets to do the background check. So it kicks it back out, slows the process down. Maybe they miss the planning. Maybe they miss the ability to go get clones, whatever it may be that we're talking about. That's a huge issue. So don't forget to do your background check, please. And really focus on who you're going to be as a cultivator too. So how do you go about getting a cultivation license for industrial hemp in the state of Florida? And can you be a CBD producer in the state of Florida? Well, if you'll go to fdacs.gov, that's Florida Department of Agricultural Services. It's fdacs.gov/cannabis-hemp. You will get all the information that you need to know right here off the website. There's some really great things that are going on in the state of Florida too. And I'll tell you right now, the last number I saw, there was about 700 licensed grow operations in the state of Florida for industrial hemp this year. Now, they got a really late start, and I'm not sure all of those are going to cultivate industrial hemp this year. In fact, I know the majority of them are not going to. However, there are so many people that have applied, and I think Florida's program is really poised to be one of the top hemp programs in the entire country. Now, granted, Kentucky and Wyoming, Montana have some really great, Tennessee has some really great hemp programs going right now. But man, Florida, the amount of acreage they're going to grow right now, the active licensed grow acreage is about 28,000 in the state of Florida. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty awesome as well that 28,000 acres of industrial hemp will be cultivated in the state of Florida. Now, I don't know how much of that will actually happen. I don't know how much of that will actually be brought to fruition because they still have to go through the process. So you still got to go through your hemp containment, your transportation plans. You got to go through your cultivation, annual inspection plans. You have to know your pre-harvest sampling manual. You also have a list of approved and designated laboratories for THC testing too. So one of the things that they've done, which I think is really great, they've already put on their website and have access to the different labs that are available where you can send your samples and analysis so that you can understand where your cannabinoid content is in the process. A lot of states actually don't have that available. A lot of states actually just put it to you and make you figure it out on your own, right? Well, that's not any way to do anything. I think we all know that. So one of the things that they've done is gone ahead and listed those out. Right now, as it stands, remember this is November of 2020, there are 5 approved labs in the state of Florida that you can send your samples to. ACS Laboratories, AccuScience Laboratories, Americana Laboratories, Kacha Laboratories, and Waters Agricultural Laboratories. And they're all over the state. They've got some really great people that are at the forefront with those different labs. And the key is you want to find a lab that is DEA approved. They have a DEA license and can test for THC from the federal government. Very few labs actually have that and have gone through that approval process. You have to be ISO accredited, and it's a really, really, really hard accreditation process. 9000, 9001, all kinds of different things that you have to go through to get a testing and analysis license and a DEA license from the federal government. But those 5 labs have already gone through it, and I'll personally vouch for Americana. Americana is a great lab. They do some really wonderful lab work, and we're really happy with what we've done from our sample analysis with them as well, with the different farms that we've done this year in our production. They're pretty quick on the turnaround time. The cannabinoid profile is really spot on. They've got some great standards that they utilize. So great group right there. And if you ever have any questions, just reach out to us. In fact, we'll list this stuff on our website over the next month or so that you'll have access to this at your fingertips if you want to get involved and grow industrial hemp yourself. You also got to have a hemp grower sign, which is crazy. But I think it's good because you're going to have that Barney Fife somewhere that's that's out there in Bumback, Florida, or Bumback, Georgia, or Bumback, Wisconsin, and they want to come in and test your weed and see where it's at. And you're like, well, sir, this is just industrial hemp. There's no way for me to know that. Well, guess what? There is. Florida has a Florida hemp sign that you put up with your license number and your street address on it. So some really great things going on in the state of Florida. Florida Medical Cannabis Program. Hey, guys, stay tuned because I can guarantee you that recreational cannabis is coming in the state of Florida in 21, if not early 22. I really, really do believe that 2020 just slowed us down a little bit on what we were trying to do from, a movement standpoint and the cannabis industry and legitimizing us from a federal standpoint. But I think you all know the voters have spoken, and I believe that the new administration, this is a teaser into the next podcast that's going to be available, the new administration will have some really, really great options that will come available so that medical cannabis, I think, first will be it. And then who knows what will happen with recreational cannabis, but I think medical cannabis is going to come to the forefront pretty quickly under the Biden administration. I don't think there's any doubt about it. In all of the communities that I speak with, all the different parameters from cannabis-related people, they all believe the same thing, that medical cannabis is going to come pretty quickly. Now, granted, will it be an executive order or will it go through Congress? I think it's probably going to have to end up being an executive order because right now the Senate is split, and we have these 2 runoffs here in this great state of Georgia that are for those Senate seats that would either flip the Senate or leave the Senate Republican controlled. So if that happens, we're not going to get anything done through Congress from a medical cannabis standpoint or recreational. But President-elect Biden could absolutely do an executive order to decriminalize medical cannabis in general, but even possibly do some stuff on the medical side too. So, man, what a crazy, nuts, awesome, terrible year 2020 was. But I think the positive thing is medical cannabis is coming quick. 2021 is going to be our year, and everybody stay tuned to all the additional podcasts that are going to follow. And 21 is going to be the year of the cannabis. Plant, flower, industrial hemp, medical cannabis everywhere. I'm Joshua Littrell, your host of the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll catch you next
line. Over there, over there. Send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there, over there.